Welcome, everyone, to our very first Health Matters presentation. This one is on maintaining the terrain. So, there's so much confusion and misinformation out there about health. How do you know what's correct? What may or may not work for you? And what will help you achieve lasting health and vitality? Not gimmicks that are going to produce benefits for just a short term. So, our Health Matters series is going to give you answers you need, the information and the tools to get your health on the right track. We're going to be covering so much in the year ahead. I hope you can attend them all. If you can't attend them, I will be recording them and posting them on our YouTube channel so you can share them with other people. Because really, your health is your greatest wealth, and we want to take care of that. Now, one thing we all need to do is, first of all, just stop the insanity. And I do mean insanity. So, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results. So, we can diet, we can detox, we can exercise, we can meditate, and we can get benefits for the short term. We've all been there, right? We ride the high of all these benefits. We feel great, having made some really good positive changes to our diets and lifestyle. But then it happens, and I put a little flow chart on the screen here. Once we're feeling like the cover model of a health magazine, we've all felt really good, then we slide right back into that old, not so great lifestyle. But this time, feelings of discouragement, disappointment, even shame, we're taken with us now. That is going to prevent and delay us from attempting to make any further positive changes. So we're on this terrible hamster wheel. So I want you to know that you can break that insanity cycle for good. And you're going to hear me say a couple times through this presentation, health is not hard, but it does take change and focus. And I am not talking about overhauling your life. This is the farthest thing that I am intending with this presentation. I'm asking you to make small changes in increments. It's that 1 degree of change that when you extend that out to the future, it is actually resulting in significant benefits and greater quality to your life. And it's those permanent lifestyle changes that are going to give you those maximum health benefits for years to come. So, what are these 1 degree changes that you can make? Well, I'm going to get there. But first, I want to give you some key ideas that we have to understand first. And the first one is, and I'll say, like, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Prevention and routine maintenance are vital to ensure good health. Car manufacturers, they recommend regular oil changes about every, 3,000 miles to keep a car running smoothly and trouble-free. Well, if you don't change the oil, if you don't perform other preventative maintenance on that car, it's not going to run well for long. And then it's going to lead to costly repairs, right? Well, the body, which is so much more complex than a car, is no different. The same thing for plants. They need attention to look lush and healthy. But I want you to I want to caution you about waiting for symptoms to show up. In most cases, if you wait for symptoms to show up, you're already 2/3 sick. And I'm going to give you some information. I was listening to some doctors' presentations recently. The one was a kidney doctor, and he said that the kidneys actually can be only at 10% functioning before symptoms appear. That to me is scary and just horrid. And according to the CDC, you can have chronic liver disease and it would take decades to even show up. And the Cleveland Clinic, I saw them, they said that you can even have a silent heart attack and have absolutely no symptoms from that for months. So we can't necessarily rely on symptoms. I want you to get to know your body. And when something doesn't feel right or it's off feeling, get it checked out. Come on in. Let us, grab those little things while they're little and get them smoothed out and let your body take care of it before it develops into something bigger. Now I want to shed light before we're getting into the heart of the terrain. What is the terrain? But I want to shed light on a new way to think about your health and also the importance of the terrain. So the American fundamental thinking about health and sickness and disease comes from a French chemist in the 1800s, and this is Louis Pasteur. So Pasteur is most known for his process of pasteurization, and that's heating a food item, usually it's a milk or dairy item, to a certain temperature that is meant to kill the bad bacteria. And I'm not going to get into the effects of pasteurization on your health today. We'll keep that for another seminar. But he believed that germs were the cause of illness and that they should be eradicated before they make you sick. So we have masks, we have antibiotics, we have vaccines, hand sanitizers. All of those things are evidence of this germ theory way of thinking, right? And we all tend to think that way. But, and I'm expanding sort of your thinking here about health, but at the same time that Pasteur was doing his research, another French chemist, his name was Antoine Béchamp, he was coming up with his own theory of sickness and disease, and he called his theory the terrain theory or the host theory. Now, he was proving that bacteria and viruses, they have been and always will be around us, but it's the state or health of the terrain. And the terrain is the body's inner environment. That is the determining factor of illness. And I just want to say that sort of again. It's the state of health of the terrain, the body's inner environment, that is the determining factor of illness. So back in the 1800s, when these two were researching and developing their ideas, there was a bitter, bitter debate at that time. And it was dividing the scientific world so much so that the larger medical powers that be at the time, they made a decision to wholeheartedly support only one viewpoint. And that ended up being Pasteur. Well, that just propelled an entire industry of pharmaceutical drugs and it buried the results of Béchamp. Now, I am in no way trashing medication when it's used appropriately. I am a pharmacist by trade, and I know how powerful medication can be. And when it is used appropriately, it's very beneficial. But hopefully, we don't have to use medication. Let's keep ourselves healthy and not have to get to that point. So, medication has a time and a place. But let's think about what Béchamp is saying. And I want to give an illustration to sort of compare these two theories. And I'm going to use a fishbowl. So the question is, how do you treat a sick fish? So we have the germ theory, which would say, well, let's medicate the fish. But we have the terrain theory, which would say, well, let's clean the tank. And I have fish myself. When my fish are not looking so good, the very first thing I do is I get the filters, change the filters. I'm thinking, the quality of water must be bad. It's influencing these fish and making them sick. So I change out the water, improve the water, clean the filters. The water looks better and the fish perk up right away. So, you can look at those two fish bowls. If your internal environment is looking like the fishbowl on the left and brown and mucky and just full of toxicity, how are your cells going to function? Not very efficiently and not very well. If it looks like the bowl on the right, which is clean, your cells are fully functioning, you can get rid of waste properly, get all the nourishment they need, and you're much better and healthier for it. So I have on the slide there, microbes are going to either die or thrive depending on the environment they are in. Another example would be think of like a fly on a piece of fruit. The fly, which one is it going to go to? It's going to go to not a nice, red, healthy looking apple that you just picked off a tree. It's going to go to an apple that is decaying, that has a little rot, maybe even some fungus. It's deteriorated. So I hope this little illustration helps you see the difference in the two theories of health and thinking about disease. And the real problem just was that we have neglected the truth of Béchamp's research. So it's not an either or with these two researchers. Really, what should have happened is the two should have come together and their research been looked at equally, and then, discoveries made off of that. But it wasn't so. So Béchamp's studies got neglected, and all his research was just sort of shelved. And that was really that the quality of the terrain is the determining factor to the quality of your health. So, your health again, or I'm sorry, your terrain is your inner immunity, it's your inner microbiome, it's your cells, your tissues, body fluids. If your body has sufficient nutrients on board, if it has a proper acid alkaline environment, that's your body's pH, and if it's free of toxicity or you have it low enough, a low level of toxicity, then it's going to be able to fight off any microbe that really tries to invade it. But today, sadly, we've lost our main focus, which should be the nurturing of the body. We will always have to fight bacteria, viruses, and a host of other microbes and toxins that can harm the body. But implementing a few key strategies now can improve the health of the terrain, which will result in less symptoms, more energy, less sick time off from work. It's going to give you a longer life potentially too. Now, to improve the health of the terrain, we have to understand some things that influence the terrain. Now, this is a information packed slide here, so I'll leave it up for a little bit. This illustration is showing some factors that will impact the health of the terrain. They're all down in the root area underground, and there are many influencers. You can read them there. And the good news about these influencers is that each one of us is unique. And we're going to be affected in varying degrees by each of these. And as being created by God, our bodies have such a great capacity to heal itself when we give it the right support. So also targeting those influencers to your terrain is going to impact your health in a very positive way. So it's very important to know your body and know which of these influencers are most important for you. And for example, everybody's different. We'll take a worker at, say, a local drug company who, works in the chemistry department, or, someone who is cleaning houses for a living, working with a lot of chemicals. Those two are an example of where toxins, and you'll see that on the far left at the bottom, where toxins may be such a big factor for their inner terrain over, say, something like breathing or the environment or EMFs or sleep. So for them, toxins are a big problem. And for each one of you, it's going to look different. And I have some words at the top, sort of up in the blue sky area here, and it's showing however we nourish the terrain with the things at the bottom. it's going to produce fruit, right? So what fruit is going to be produced? On the left, we have good fruit, if you want to call it that way. We have energy, we have wellness, we have a strong immune system. But if we're not tending to the terrain and we have many of these influencers that are just, out of whack in our life, we might be producing fruit that's more negative, like inflammation, anxiety, fatigue, bowels being off. So you can see we all have a choice, and our bodies will produce the fruit depending on the choices that we make. So before I get to R, I have 6 tips for us about how to improve our terrain. I want everyone to let go of excuses, let go of negative beliefs that are keeping you from achieving your healthy, fit body you desire. And I've heard them, in office all the time. Some of the big ones are, I just don't have time. Well, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it at all. I'm just going to leave it at that. Some people will say, it's just too expensive. Well, there is a cost to maybe tending to your health. However, I can guarantee in all uppercase letters that you will spend more on your health down the road in medication, doctor's visits, appointments, surgeries, all of those, if you don't invest a little of your costs or invest a little of your finances in tending to your health now. And every one of you know, if you've been to my office, I do try to keep things as cost effective as possible. The other sort of negative thing I hear all the time is it's just hard. Health is hard. And I will constantly tell people health is not hard. So we have to get rid of those negative thinking, negative beliefs to be able to choose a better way. And we can all do it. We can all do something to help our bodies and our inner terrain out. So let's get to these 6 ways we can impact the health of the terrain starting today. Number 1, rest. So when I say rest here, I'm looking for everyone to have a routine bedtime. For the most part, vacation and guests might throw that off, but for the most part, a routine bedtime, at least 7, 8 hours, preferably in a very dark room. Studies show the body gets much better quality of sleep in a dark room and also a cooler room. So keep your room a little cool. Number 2, nutrition. Eat a variety of whole foods and not only, but supplement as your body needs it. And everybody's going to need additional nutrition. Just, say you have a medical condition, say, your body's just depleted from years of not eating right. So you might need to supplement in those cases. And there might be some other reasons why you need some additional nutrition. But nutrition, super important. What does your diet look like? And number 3, reduce toxicity. So I have reduced toxic burden here. One thing I think might be handy for everybody to think about because there's a lot of toxins out there. So one idea I thought of was just to focus on one area of your home that you are in the most. It may be a bedroom, maybe a home office, and just clean up that environment as much as possible. So we want your home to be a safe haven from a very toxic world. And some ideas for, cleaning up the room. And I'm not talking just dust and vacuuming. I'm talking about look around the room. Do you have scented candles in that room? Get rid of them. If you have air fresheners in that room, get rid of them. Do you have a router in that room? Make sure it's specifically placed so it's not affecting you as you are, lounging or being at your desk, whatever you're doing. You don't want to be so close to a lot of EMFs or electromagnetic field. and put in some nice plants. Put in some air cleaning plants. That's a good idea, and it looks nice and, makes your home more cozy. Plants help clean the air. So those are just some ideas for how you could clean up a room. And also, I have a note on here. If you haven't purchased our Terra Pure external detox kit yet, I would highly encourage that. It's a very, very easy way to help the body detox and cleanse, and it's topical. It's not anything like an enema or a heavy, internal cleanse. It's putting some mud packs on the bottoms of your feet, and you will get a full body detox and cleanse. So simple ideas which have huge impacts for the positive on your terrain. Number 4 tip, a way to improve your terrain is get outdoors every day, especially on the sunny days. At a minimum 5 minutes, even in the winter, if it's freezing cold or in the really hot dog days of summer, 5 minutes. Get out there, take some deep breaths of fresh air, and let the sun shine on you. Your body will thank you. You need the good air. You need the sun. Make some vitamin D. The energy from the sun's rays is very beneficial to the body. Number 5, reduce stress. So you guys are probably laughing at this one because this one is big, and I probably should have put it at number 1. But I want you to treat stress like the poison that it is. So, some ideas. First of all, and an important one, is slow down at mealtimes. We want to pause, maybe pray before a meal, just let go of some of that stress and anxiousness of the day before you enjoy your food. You will digest it much better. And throughout the day, be aware of tension that's building up. Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders tight? Are you holding your breath? If you notice these things, pause and just relax, reset. And practicing gratitude and being in the moment will also, go far to help your stress levels. Stress is just very bad and contributes to a lot of health issues. And number 6 is hydrate, and hydrate with the best quality water that you can. So these 6 tips for improving your terrain, as you see, they are not hard. They're rather simple. But again, I'm saying health is not hard. It takes focus and it takes that 1 degree of change. So which one of these 6 are you going to choose to make a 1 degree of change? Don't start with something that you find is hard. Start with something that's easy. Make the change and just build it into your life, and it will affect your body for the better. So again, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today for Health Matters information session on the terrain. If you have any other questions about the terrain, about where you should maybe focus to help your specific health issues, just again, call us, call the office, text me, email me, and we'll get you set up. I really am putting these Health Matters workshops out to educate you, to empower you, and to equip you to change the trajectory of your future. It can be good. We have to instill some positive things now to reap the benefits in the future. So thank you again for watching, for listening. Please watch for some upcoming events. We're going to have a nutrition webinar coming up just next, so watch out for that. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We have a Pinterest account too for some healthier recipes. And my email and phone number are also listed there. The website is also the source of where you can go to purchase the MudWorks Terra Pure Detox Kit. So any questions, and I will leave a link in the notes below. But thank you for attending.